Well, I have a bit of a situation here. I have a broken sprinkler and a broken riser actually, and you can see over the years this thing has flopped around enough from the action of the sprinkler to put enough pressure on that to eventually snap that off. And I had it staked at one time so it wouldn't do that, but I don't know what happened. The wire came loose or whatever. My little piece of baling wire rusted out. I don't know. I put all this in many years ago, and so over time you just have to fix little things once in a while. But you know, that would have been a real chore if I didn't know about this little trick. Get some of that water out of there. And normally what you have to do is dig up about 2 feet of this main line in both directions, enough that you could cut this off and pull that up high enough to put a coupler on there and then slip it back together as you ease it back down. And that's a lot of digging. And I used to work for a feller back in 1977 and 78. A guy named Grady Oval, who pioneered the Granny Smith apple in this country. And if it weren't for him, y'all wouldn't be going to the grocery store and buying any Granny Smith apples, because he's the one that got them started here in this country. Oh, you might be, but that's I don't know. That's how it happened anyway. He's the guy. He's the guy who did that. So, and when I worked for him, I did irrigated 125 acres, took care of the irrigation on half his ranch, and he taught me this little trick. And instead of having to dig all that up, what you do is you take an old screwdriver and you put it on the grinding wheel and you kind of cup it and dish it out on one side, and you kind of round it off on that back side on the other side. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold this camera and do that at the same time. I mean, I know I can't, but anyway, what you do is that little piece of plastic pipe that's in there, you can start that and kind of cut that in half and then start chipping that out of there. But now you're probably asking yourself, how's he going to get all them little pieces, that plastic that falls down in that main line? That's going to travel on down the line and plug up the next sprinkler. Oh, but just wait. What we have here is a piece of high-tech, highly engineered piece of equipment. What it is a little piece of scrap cloth with a piece of baling wire in it. What you do is put that down inside there first. And I'm going to take both hands to do that. And anyway, you get that down in there, and then you chip the little plastic out, and that little rag keeps all the plastic pieces from floating down, or from falling down inside the pipe. And then you just pull that out when you're done. It brings all the plastic out with you. And I'm going to put this camera now and get that in there, and then I'll show you. Okay. Now I got my little piece of cloth down in there, what's attached to this little piece of baling wire. And now I'm going to go ahead and start chipping that plastic out of there. And once again, I'll have to set the camera down because I only got 2 hands and I need 3. Okay, now I've got my little piece of plastic chipped out of there, and there's one piece that come off a fairly big chunk. And I can go ahead and just pull that out of there. But now you see those little floaters in there, those little pieces. If it weren't for my high-tech, highly engineered little piece of baling wire with some cloth on the end of it, that would all wind up down in the pipe. But as it is, that's not going to happen, because I can get all those little chips and pieces out of there when I pull that rag out. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. There's that little piece, and they just keep coming out. There's a little piece, and there's one more little piece, and that's all of them. Now we'll be able to cut this off, get rid of that old glued end, and make a fresh, nice end on there to put some glue on. And you want to use that hot. This is hot stuff. This is wet and dry. You can glue that back in there and then turn your water right back on, and it dries real quick, and I like it. So that's how I do that. Okay, on to step 3, or 9, or 12, or whatever. Okay, I've taken this specially engineered piece of equipment here called a metal stake, and I've driven it in with this engineered little a tool here called a hammer. And now I'm going to take some of this highly sophisticated material called baling wire and wrap that around there, and this will hold this. It'll attach it to that stake so that don't bounce around as the sprinkler's in motion and cause that to break again. At least not for another 10 or 15 years, you know, probably. That's about how long that one lasted, so I would expect it to hold up pretty well. It could blow up tomorrow, but we'll see. I think it'll be all right. Okay, I've wrapped that band wire around there about 3 times and twisted it up and gave it a nice tight little twist with the pliers here, and I put a little nut there on the end of that to keep this handle from falling off, and that's not exactly a handle that's supposed to fit that valve, but it'll work. And so there, that snugs that up pretty good. And I expect to let that glue dry a few more minutes and turn that on, and you know, y'all just be amazed, because during this whole process at no time did my hands leave my arms. Well, there you have it, one down and dirty sprinkler repair. And now I know that's not leaking, I'll go ahead and fill that hole. Whoo, boy, that's cold. And then cover that up with some bark, and we'll be good to go. Like I said, maybe another 10 years, who knows. Thanks for watching.